Pamwamba. Kwikata pamuru.
Relationship is a two-way thing. You know, you have to communicate, and the other person also has to communicate. It's not like I should always be the one communicating
alone.
But one should also be putting in their best in order to reach out to the other one. So maybe we can even start on that particular note. Communication is a two-way thing, and people will also get to just you know, misinterpret this particular one. There are times, especially we as women, you know, you'd expect much from a man when it comes to communicating, because it's not calling me, I'm not going to call him. Like, he just has to be the one to call me every time.
I'd say that's what happens in most of the relationships.
Talk time, talk time, but so Chandra wanani.
You know, communication is very much important. And the problem that we have right now is that a lot of people feel and think that they know how to communicate. But most of people in these relationships, they don't know how to communicate. And the danger is that they don't know that. They feel they're okay with it. But communication goes beyond. Because communication is God designs communication because it's important for us to express ourselves through communication. It's important for us to interact through communication. You know, communication is the ability to connect effectively through interactions. There's a reason why God made us to be relational beings. Why? Because He wanted us to communicate. Now, let's look at these issues that are coming up in the courts of law. No, wanakamba so.
I think before Tomlangira na sana hapo, I'm reminded of Genesis, where they were communicating very well. They even started building the Tower of Babel. So lavare kula lavare panga, kamba no kula Afrika numba cha Afrika kumuru, and God had to change their language. Papeni yachinja aliko kumfu. Adaware mo iwe leta nani cement. I can't understand what is he saying. Maybe he's trying to insult me, but you don't have to understand. So in 10, they couldn't finish the Tower of Babel because of communication.
Miscommunication.
Yes. So most of the times, you find that in marriages or relationships, what you want to build takes to put communication. Yeah, so even as we enter into the topic, deep into the topic about the courts and whatever is happening, I what is happening is exactly what was happening with Tower of Babel, where the language was different. So maybe your wife is saying the other language, now the language alanda muri chikaonde alanda timpera kwa menshi muchikaonde iwo muchibe mbamvike ninse so yeah, so today is a very nice topic that we are having.
Yeah, very, very true. So communication that cements, or it's communication helps to build and cement all these other links, because when you are full of love, you are immersed in love, you need that to give out that love. That's when our communication comes in. Because how do you give it if you don't understand how to communicate it? Because as much as we are full with love, that love needs to be given. You know what I'm talking about? It's not love if it's just within you alone. No, we need to demonstrate it. How? By expression. So that's how important now communication comes in, because you can't say you're full of love which you cannot communicate. For us to know that you're full of love, you need to communicate it, isn't it? You need to love your partner, you need to love your wife, you need to love your children. So that love needs to be expressed. So communication is very important because it helps you to express yourself. Now, the way we express ourselves sometimes get misinterpreted. Why? Because we say one thing and mean the other thing. But effective communication is whereby if I communicate someone, you you have to get it, understand it from my perspective, the way I intended it to be. Because if I communicate something and you interpret it something else, that means the communication is what? It's not effective.
For example, I love you, Mag. Me inendera and love ya my sister. Ale mwe me love ya.
You need to be specific. You need to be specific. So I'm just going to put it in general. You love me, and I will take it as you love me. You know.
But when you are telling your brother, your biological brother, my brother, I love you so much. The brother will be able to know the language that you're talking about.
Yes.
The communication there will be very clear.
Man, I mean, somebody's son coming to me to say to me that I love you. I mean, I'm going to interpret that love as in, you know, man and woman love. I don't know if you get that one.
Okay.
Yes.
So
it depends. Actually,
let me start.
Let him start.
I know where you're going. I know where you're heading to. He mentioned that.
So which love is he talking about?
Now it's also the kind of relationship that you have with that that will determine what that person is talking about. But if it has to work up, let's say I've been having this. I'll use an example of maybe male bestie. I know you can hear this. There are people out there that are having besties, as in opposite sex as besties. And so, you know, you've been having this bestie around for some time, you've been hanging out together, and you've been...
sharing everything. It's the secrets.
Yeah,
secrets.
Like that. And then this bestie one day just wakes up and, you know, tells me I love you. I'm not going to I'm not going to look at it as a brotherly love. I mean, because we've been friends, obviously he's been showing me interest and everything. But again, that brotherly love can still come in because, you know, you're treating that person as... it's something that is not... that should be communicated effectively. And in that way, you need to be specific on what you are talking about. If you tell me you love me, in what way? And you should be able to explain to me so that I get to understand before I misinterpret your love.
I like it. I like it. Very, very profound. So, this is how communication gets distorted. Just a simple statement. Now, because the person who's being talked to, maybe they might have feelings for this person. Now, this person is just speaking from the neutral point of view. Now, because the person who's been talked to, maybe they have been having these issues. Now, instead of understanding from the context of the one who's speaking, they're understanding from the emotional part of things, because they feel they haven't yet specified, no, this is brotherly or what, and they just take it like that. No, this person has got feelings for it. So, as a result, it distorts the communication process. So that's why it's very much important to understand, ask questions, understand from the context of what? The one who's speaking. You understand what I mean? But the Bible encourages, the Bible has never commanded us to like people.
But to love.
To love. Did you get what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You don't like human beings. You love them.
God loved you.
Perfect.
In the first place.
Yes. In the first place, God loves you. You can say, no, God, which love God? I know there is this mixed and stuff like that, but as a rule, as a command, we're supposed to love one another. When you've got feelings for someone, be specific. Because specific comes now when you want to express your feelings for someone. That's when our specification comes in. But generally, love is for everybody. You understand what I mean? I love my mom, I love my sisters, I love my wife, I love Joshua, I love people around me, I love my community and stuff like that. But if now I want to go a step further, for my wife, I have to specify now that love, this is a romantic love that I'm expressing to my wife. That's when our specification comes in. But love is supposed to be, it's a general thing for everybody, because the Bible encourages to love one another. You get what I mean? Although we have mistaken it or confused it with liking. I know if you want to confuse people, say no, I like you.
First, liking you enough makuisa kanshi. Ni pesa mwaifu nyadi. I like you. Ya kutewa ku Western culture. Cause like you na mchibemba tulafilo ku irondoro. I like you. Mchibemba nishani. Na kutemako pano no.
I'm trying to
I think it just helps, like she said, that specification, because sometimes love people because they've been having this thought, thinking that when someone says love, they mean feelings, having being in a romantic relationship, which is not the true picture. That's distorting communication. You understand what I mean? That's why communication needs to be understood from the sender's perspective, the one who's sending that information. If me, I send the information, I love you, you need to look at the context. You understand what I mean? And interpret it like that. But if the person who's receiving has got mixed feelings, you find that if they don't go ahead and validate or confirm or find out exactly what the other person is trying to communicate, they'll just conclude. And that's what happens in relationship. Someone says something, you conclude it wrong.
Should we say that this is why now you have to get to know each other as a couple, because there's certain things that would ruin some relationships out there without really knowing what the root cause is. Because sometimes the way you communicate with that person, maybe you understand that person the way they do communicate with you. But somebody who would just get to hear something about you. For example, this is an example. We are a couple, and you know how I communicate with you, and I also know how you communicate with me. So if Pastor Joshua here is going to hear me say something to you, he will get it the way it is. Not really knowing, not really understanding how we communicate. There's certain things that couples say to each other that with them is okay, but sometimes you find that the other person is maybe hurt in one way or the other without the other one knowing about it. And the person who said it will be comfortable to say, okay, he knows me, maybe that's how I talk to him and everything. Yet the other person is hurt. So somehow that communication sometimes comes into just destroy everything. I think. So I don't know how you can correct me on that one, but I think I've seen this before whereby, because I get to relate to this person in a certain way, and so maybe what I say, they'll think as though it is one of those things that we just talk about, but on the other end, it is misinterpreted, and the other person is injured in one way or the other. You find that you start receiving those text messages, and then you'll be wondering, why is this person texting me in this? I just say that in good faith, but why is this person just texting me in that?
I think I can give an example of sometimes like jokes. The way we joke, and I can give an example maybe with your partner. And you most of the time you just joke normally. You are dumbo shine, hey, was sick. But maybe a certain time, when you want to with other few friends again, you repeat the same thing. You say, you are dumbo. Kashi is offended. We're dark of here. All of a sudden, mood change. So I think communication, you should know. You know the way you're communicating on the baby. Now, where you communicating on how can you explain that?
The environment is also important because the same thing that you say all the time, but if you say it in a different environment, in an environment which is very much demeaning to your partner, they will interpret it differently. You could have been saying, you are doing well, you are the two of you and stuff like that. But if you say that word, maybe in the general populace, where the people that she feels might take advantage of her, and you say the same word that you say all the time, that time it will be hurtful to her. But that in that particular time when the two of you, it's a job. So also the environment matters, because the environment may make the other party to misinterpret. That's why it's very much important for us to be cautious of the environment, even as we're joking. That's why because joking is not very much allowed or maybe encouraged to do. You know what I'm talking about? If you're going to joke healthy jokes. not case joking. You get what I mean? Because those things, they might hurt people badly.
Letu amatu lese kafe imwe ushamukena po imwe. Na 2022 are just the same. Kansho muno bena ngareka biro kuinero mbe watch we make that joke. Lelo ba furo no.
And there are some people who communicate, who say the truth through jokes. You understand it? You feel that what they're saying is a joke, but they're trying to communicate the truth. Now, they just don't want maybe to say it the way it is, but they want to say it through a joke, but what they think is the truth. That's why it's very much important to state your stance on each and every matter. Your partner needs to understand what you're saying from your perspective. Because communication is very, very important, because it helps us to express ourselves fully, to avoid this misinterpretation. You get what I mean? If you're going to enjoy this relationship with your spouse, with your partner, be honest. Be open. Let them understand it from your perspective. Like what she said, you say one thing and then they interpret it, they start sending you messages. Why? Because the communication was not effective, was not complete. You know, it's like you are in the dark room. You're in the dark room and then you are trying to give signs to your partner. Will they notice you? Will they notice what they're saying? You're in a dark room.
That communication won't be effective.
It won't be effective. That's the way it is without communication. You're in a relationship and then you're not valuing communication, you're not communicating with your partner, you're not effectively communicating. It's like you're in a dark room and then you're giving signs.
Of which the other person
I'm in love with my wife, I want to propose, but I don't communicate. Do you get what I mean?
Is it the reason why some people get to have wrong timing when it comes even to proposing, because you haven't been showing that those signs, maybe you haven't been communicating with that person, and then you want to go to this more and you kneel and you go down on your knees trying to propose this lady who doesn't have
shopping more
planning all along.
Yes, true. And it's good you have brought up that point, because now communication needs to understand from two perspectives. Communication has got the verbal side of communication and the non-verbal of communication. So the verbal communication, these are two signs that you need to pay much particular attention to. You know, there is verbal communication. This is has to do with the spoken and the written. When I say something to you, I communicate something to you using words, a call, or maybe if I write you a text, a mail, a letter. I'm involved in what? In verbal communication. But there is this other part of communication which we call non-verbal communication. You have heard of the saying that action speaks louder than words. This is where the non-verbal comes in, because you find that people, they also communicate through signs, through cues, through the expression of their face. You know what I'm talking about. We're able to pick one or two things. So people, if they're in relationship, we find that this person just pays attention to verbal communication. Now, if he is hurt, he will speak about it.
Number one bitabalanda okumi munafi ba shock. Era muita chana ti no volume. Picture no volume. No sound wa dark kwa nishe escape. Fish in the vein, we should party for Randa. Maybe you to achia.
Yeah. So the two of you are supposed to be conscious. The person who's been hurt and the person who's hating the other, because we don't just use any words. That's why communication is very much. Choose your words wisely, because each and every word that you use, you're responsible for it. And it might cause more harm than good. And sometimes these relationships, when we wreck them, to bring them back to the same state takes time. It is very difficult. That's why it's good to think before you say something. Think before you give any gesture. People, they have missed out in love because they didn't interpret the non-verbal communication that their spouse or their relationship, their partner was trying to communicate. You find that this person, from the non-verbal communication, they are telling you that they are not interested. You get what I mean, eh? Now, because they haven't said it verbally, you feel, no, they are interested. You get what I'm talking about?
Night pass.
Like what you are, night pass. So when you go further, you feel like, how can she do this? But she was giving me all the signs. You were misinterpreting the signs. Sometimes we misinterpret kindness with someone being interested.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? Right? Other people, they are taught to be kind to everybody. You get what I mean? Eh? I'm talking to you and you're kind, you respond nicely, you laugh. Kaniko,
Apasa.
naipasa. But
Maybe also the like term comes in. The like term, because maybe because somebody is showing you that they like you, not loving you.
So where do you strike a balance? Say like iperere rapa.
I will like your personality. I will like the things you do. Maybe when around me, or maybe what, just the way you do things. Maybe I like that, and but there's always that boundary. If I cross that boundary, that's where the like graduates to love.
no, I feel it's what people are using just to find maybe to strike that balance, maybe to help them understand more. No, when you're not in love, just use the word liking. Which is more confusing because you don't like a human being.
So
it's an insult to like a human being.
Either you love or you do not love a person.
But when you've got...
But you ought to love.
Yes.
In general, we ought to love.
Very
that maybe when it comes to...
Love one another. And that's the commandment from our Lord.
Okay.
Love.
We're talking about communication here.
Yes.
Somebody claims to love you and they go 2, 3, 4 days without talking to you. They claim they're busy, or maybe they're busy. And
I like that.
Let's talk about it. I want to get it from the male folk.
Yeah, I like that.
Because sometimes we as women do not understand. Somebody is in love with you and they go. For me personally, I'm okay with somebody sending me a message, good morning, I will have a busy day today, we'll talk when I have time. And this, I know that somebody is busy, even if they do not communicate throughout the day, I know that they're busy. Unlike you wake up, you do not even say hello, because even in that busy schedule, you still have your phone in one way or the other. You will get your phone, you get to check out, you can still send a text message if you are unable to call. But I want to understand this thing of going maybe 2, 3 days, 4 days.
1 week.
It might not even just be from you, but also from the female, from us women. It's also because they say that you do not have to expect a man to be calling you every time. You also have to reciprocate. Like, you are in a relationship and you just have to communicate either ways. But we always wait on men to make that move. Women are a special. Yes.
Yeah.
So now we always, because you are the head.
Okay. Most of the time,
I'm loving that one.
we forget.
I'm loving that one.
I think last week we talked about love being. You need to invest in it. If we are cooler, you have to be nurturing it. And one of the things that we use to make love grow is communication. Very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, very important, because it's one of the water, the manure that we use to make love grow and mature. If you're not communicating, because communication, imagine the same 3 days. On the 3rd day, if that is your wife or husband, direct. Because you said more busy. So communication will affect the other things if it's not taken properly. They are important. So for someone for 3 days, nishaisa communicating about.
Actually, I've loved your perspective on this matter, which I want to address critically. I loved when we started, you said communication is a two-way street. Right? Meaning, you're supposed to communicate, the two of you. Now, immediately you start thinking that there's only one person who's supposed to text, to communicate, because he's there. Then now, a communication here is being distorted. Because when we started this program, we talked about self-love. Huh?
Mhm.
People who have understood how it feels to communicate with themselves, they find it easy to communicate with others. That's why we find that certain people, they only wait for their partner or spouse to communicate to them because they are not very so much good on how to communicate with themselves. Because it becomes with self. When you are good at communication, you'll be able to encourage communication even with your partner. Now, let's put it this way. You are in a relationship you're in a relationship with God. You and me were in a relationship with God, isn't it?
Mhm.
Now, suppose we don't communicate with God. How will that relationship be? Will I be getting stronger in my Christian life?
Mm.
No. Why? Because communication, it helps to build that relationship strong. So lack of communication is like you are cutting the supply of oxygen to a human being. And trust me, if this communication goes a long time without being nurtured or tapilicious, like the way Pastor Joshua said, that relationship is going to fail. Because there's no relationship on this earth which can survive without
Communication.
And real communication or true communication is where it's a two-way street. Don't just wait for someone to call you or to text.
That moment when you're waiting for someone to call you, yet on the other side, the same person is also waiting on you to call them.
Yeah, actually, the waiting is where I don't like. You don't wait for someone to call you.
Now
Yes.
we are coming up at
And that's laziness, you know that, right? That's laziness, and that's what's killing,
Like a pride.
killing a lot of relationships. Why? Because that one will allow pride to come in.
Could it be also one of the loopholes that has actually destroyed some relationships in one way or the other? Looking at, we always have people around us whereby this person who claims to be my boyfriend or maybe my husband, or I'll give an example of a husband who's maybe even away, maybe he's gone for work for some, let's say, a month and everything, and he's not calling, and it's this friend somewhere who is checking on me, is getting to know how I'm doing, This is somebody's girlfriend, and somebody is texting this somebody's girlfriend to say, how are you doing, yet the boyfriend is not doing that, or the husband is not doing that.
Let's put it, the husband and the wife or the girlfriend and the boyfriend, they are not doing that. Because communication is the duty of both parties. It's not the duty of one person. And that's why we miss it. And that's what has brought communication. Because we feel when you're in a relationship, this is the head of the house, he needs to initiate the communication, which is the wrong concept. Because communication, as long as you are able to communicate. You can be the first person to start that communication. It can be your spouse. But it doesn't matter. As long as you feel comfortable to initiate that conversation or that communication, initiate it. Because communication...
So she gave the example that you're trying to put up across is the one whereby it has happened whereby the wife will send a text to say, how are you doing? Afternoon or good morning. Balomeno wish. Mwari bafe mwebene busy katwishinga kachifoni ngailika ngabatuma good morning wesha another day. So she's trying to give an example whereby kachira mwakene the whole week elo nomba kwa wako nomba umbi uambo kula checking up on you. So she's trying to give an example that is this what brings karupo. So I was trying to get that one and bringing it back to Adam and Eve. But apparently, kwa shirika space, the enemy wanted ka space. So immediately Adam half minepofi. That's when the enemy came in to say, "Hey, mama." So I think most of the time that's what happens in Afubeni. We live. But apparently, mwa shafe ka blanki. She's trying to communicate. You weta or study reciprocate or wish. She sends ka anan kanike, hello, I've missed you. Oh, thank you. No, where's no and so I'm not. Nishe skapa. After they ever feel like continuous, fast. Anyway, you look good today. If you have you leave a loophole for the enemy to enter. And I think I like
I like to probably say enemy. It's not really an enemy, but somebody
the enemy the devil will enter.
This is the miscommunication I want us to look at. Because when you send them a text message, let's say you have sent a text message, I miss you.
The whole week, every day.
Maybe you have sent for 2 days,
tababwesha
2 or 3 days. This person is not replying.
tell him
What comes in your mind?
tell him
A lot.
What do you think?
A lot. Whereby, if not careful, I've been texting you and you're not responding. Maybe you're with someone else where you are, you know. So, yeah.
Now, do you feel that's correct?
It is not. But
Do you feel they are not responding because they don't want?
I wouldn't
Or they
know
want.
if they do not communicate.
Thank you.
I wouldn't know.
I like that.
I can
The
only
fact
know
that
about it when they tell me what is happening.
Awesome.
so you should ask them.
So you should now ask, go a step further, because as long as someone hasn't, because communication, the other person needs to understand it from the way you're understanding it. Suppose they don't even have the phone.
Maybe they're going to talk time.
Suppose that phone has been stolen.
Then you conclude for them.
Suppose they work in that, for example, they're in an environment whereby maybe they have
Network.
No, there
Mine.
are certain institutions whereby if you enter, you leave your phone
Phone.
in the box.
Okay.
And that's the place.
So now my point earlier was that if you're going to have a day that is of such nature, you tell me about it. You tell me, okay, I'm not going to communicate probably because I'm going to leave my phone somewhere, or maybe, or just give a scenario of how the day might be. If you're not even sure of how it will be, tell the person.
And that is,
I'll be at a certain place. So I
Yes.
don't know what conditions the people there are going to give me in regards to communication. I mean, to communicating with other people using my phone. So in case my phone goes off, in case I do not pick this.
In case you're shading.
Umuntu ngavuka, at least think of your friend to say that, okay, if I was to go away and this person obviously would want to get in touch with me, and so if they find that the phone is off or maybe I'm not responding, how they're going to feel. So better you communicate earlier so that even if I try to call you and you are unreachable, I'm able to understand to say, okay, he mentioned that it's going to be in a certain place, maybe there's no network or maybe there's...
Awesome. What you're saying is true. It's 100% true. But now, what I want us to focus on is this wrong conclusion. You understand what I'm talking about? What you're saying is very true. I like it, and it's...
Yes, I just want us to open the phone line and also get to accommodate the listeners out there on the topic that we have. We're talking about communication, and this is the Missing Link program here on United Voice Radio. So you communicate to us through those phone calls, and that is on the number 0978325332. You can also text us on that same number so that we get to hear from you. We'll be able to read out some messages live on radio. So even as we wait for those calls, okay, we have one here. Hello, good morning. Hello, you through to radio, good morning. Oh, to the governor, I'm quiet. That's my nation. But Bernard, could you actually work on a contribution here? Right out there.
then napita kwa kashita tumune ngala tumana ngwala kwa chapa shite na sa mero la na shika kuti watashana ule
Nice one. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you took a note of that. And let's see if we have another call here. 0978-325332. 0978-325332. Like I said, if you're unable to call us, you can text us on the number 0978-325332. We don't seem to have a call. We can get on to.
So before the Rondorula, my point here also be in Jomfa. Him here is trying to make a point to say we tend to conclude for our friends. If it's a iripo, because of the lack of communication, we tend to conclude for them to say the reason why Fiabele is because nifi. The reason Fiabele nifi instead of making a follow up to find out making a follow up to nangu meet the person, making a follow up so that you hear the side of the story kumwini. And you, Magina, you're trying to speak on the woman folk. Was at the daughters, whereby she's been trying every time to communicate. You're trying to, the way you're trying to explain, you're trying to stand on behalf of the daughters. You've been trying to communicate, but it's like so he's trying to give a conclusion to say, try to find out from him. Whereby you send in the morning, takuri. You send in the morning, takuri. That sometimes I can't pride. See that it can be from the male or from the female. What are we? The best ambiri poku tomorrow ocean. Na nini just for 2 days tere asuka ocean.
Actually, the way it is.
And the funny part, the funny part is that sometimes you'd be there and you text this person and they tell you they miss you. You're the first person who texted that person, and once they receive that message and they tell you, I miss you. I'm like, you miss me, but why didn't you communicate in the first place?
You see what I'm talking about? You see what the wrong conclusions.
She has concluded for him.
Now you understand what I'm saying.
She has concluded for him.
Exactly. School she has spoken that. This is where the wrong now communication is coming from. So does it mean that if she texts me and I say I miss you, then it's not genuine?
You would have.
You get what I mean?
Or text.
Now you understand what I mean. This is what is happening in relationship. And it's good that you have brought it up. Exactly, this is what is happening in relationship. And this has broken a lot of relationships.
Maybe thank you.
Just like what the gentleman said. They send someone man. It's in the same context. They send someone man. 3 minutes, 4. Z is showing as Zafik. Now this person, and it's good he has gone the next time and say, meaning that this person wants to understand how to go about it, which is very much important, which other people don't do. They will just conclude, this person is ungrateful, that's misinterpretation. You don't know what is really happening on the other side. Do you get what I'm talking about? You might find that maybe you send them, they haven't yet maybe reached to the phone, or maybe they have seen it, but they're in the process of maybe replying, maybe they're in the message,
maybe the battery.
Or shedding.
So my point is that regardless of whatever happens, don't conclude for the other party until you get the facts on the ground and verify your facts, because a lot of relationships have been ruined because of wrong conclusion, jumping to wrong conclusion. No, I'm the one who texts and then saying I love you. This guy is a joker. He's a joker. If you love me, you could have sent first. You get what I mean, eh? But that's the wrong way of looking at things. That's why I said communication is two ways. It's 2 ways. It doesn't matter who has initiated the communication. But coming back to your point, there are certain things that we do deliberate. I know that where I'm going, there will be this kind of a situation. And at lunchtime, most of the time we speak with my wife, we chat with my wife. And I know that today we might not be able to chat. What do? I just remain quiet. I'm supposed to prepare myself. Baby, I'll be in a meeting, or I'll be so. So this afternoon I'll be a bit what? Busy. Or if I'm getting in a meeting, just chat. No, I'm going to a meeting. A message just like that. That is communication. You are trying to communicate and to show your partner that you care and you respect this relationship. That's why I told you that communication is a two-way street, and trust is built through communication. If you don't communicate with your partner, trust is bruised. How do you build trust? Is by communication.
Okay, let's talk about the initiator of the relationship. Mostly it's men, because you come to us women to propose, and
He who finds.
yes, and when we accept, there is a relationship. During this process, you've been communicating day in, day out. Good morning.
pakufwaya
Yes. Time nga twasumina nomba yachinja. Ninshikwa twalibelela nomba tibala tutumina oluchero akasuba,
mchungulu
you know, and after some time that goes down, and we stopped receiving calls, and how do we handle such? Maybe you can advise the women out there.
It's a dependency syndrome,
Okay.
which is very bad and very toxic. Dependence syndrome, it waits for someone to act, to validate their way from that relationship. But that's not the case. Like we discussed here, self-love needs to be at play. People who have understood self-love, they are not very bad at communication. They know how it feels if you haven't told you that I'll be busy. Because they understand how it feels. They know how it feels if they haven't said I love you. Do you get what I mean? They know, because they have understood self-love. That's why it's very much important before you even start looking for someone to initiate the communication. Are you good at communicating with yourself? Are you able to tell yourself, I'm able to do this, I'm an achiever? Do you get what I'm talking about? Are you able to discipline yourself? If you are able to do that, then communicating or initiating the process of communication will be a problem.
We're almost running out of time, but we have a message here saying, good morning, what will hurt is seeing your hubby online, then you send a message to him. You can't open it, but he's online. What can you do to someone like that? Just inspired. What can you think? This is Mushima. A scenario where, especially social media, advanced technology, where if it's WhatsApp,
Blue tick.
Yes, not really blue ticking, just, where you see somebody is online, you are texting that person. Obviously, they have to see the message. They haven't even opened the message, but they've seen the message. They're online. You're able to see that they're online.
Margaret, how do you know that they've seen it?
I mean,
Is it just because they are online, or you are sure that they've seen the message?
okay.
How did you know?
You can only see if they've seen the message if they're blue tick. But the fact that you're online, I am able to, the second.
You're concluding for him. You're concluding for
This is
him.
where we are getting to.
Hey, you're concluding
This
for
is what is
him.
happening in relationship. And this is sad.
Can I also add on to that? Maybe there is even a group that you two are in, and this person is even busy commenting on other stuff in that group. And they're not opening your message. They're ignoring your message, but they're busy
How
on
do you know?
other groups.
How do you know that they ignore your message?
Okay, I've given an example of maybe even sharing it.
Are you basing your conclusion because they have replied in this
Kugrupu,
group, then
kumyobe.
they're ignoring yours? Is that the base of your discussion?
Of course.
You see? And this is what is killing relationships.
Ask him.
This is what is killing
Kulandira po mneshu mfobwino efifya kwati tuli ku group mulesta communicate ukwine ina mulanga sinya alero alondro do you know, sorry ine yakwati nde second conclude padira Bible study. That's what happened kumwebera pwacha abatata ne mulanchena.
When you take time, when you do this is the way I feel. Now what really happened? I text you in the morning.
Ndondolo yereni. I need to know the secret. What happens?
Before you conclude that they ignore
Talk to him.
Talk to him. That's effective communication, right? Don't conclude. No, just talk about the issue. This is what
Here is the side of his
then
story.
hear the side of the story.
Nachimona online with the what day? No, nachimona ka
Others
high.
they even say, this has been happening for 1 week. You just don't want to talk to me. You see? Now, by you having that wrong conclusion, you have already distorted the communication. Because now you have concluded for your spouse, meaning whatever they will say won't be productive because you have already concluded, but on the back of mind, this person doesn't like.
We have another message. He's saying, morning, nice program. That is the challenge I'm facing in my relationship. I send a good morning to WhatsApp and he doesn't respond. Who can even see the blue ticks? We even go 3 weeks, no communication. Now let's talk about this before we end the program.
Okay.
3 weeks, you're in a relationship with someone.
So, communication, just to be straightforward. In a relationship, if you are not communicating, that relationship will die. Because communication is the fuel of any relationship. That's why it's very much important that the both of you put in the effort to communicate.
So is this one of the tactics that some men are using to end relationships, whereby, you know, this person is texting, or maybe both
sides.
Yes.
Just stop.
Both sides.
You just stop responding.
Yes, you just stop responding to this person. It can be a woman or a man, but you just stop responding. This person tries to call, this person tries to text or WhatsApp, this, that, and you're just not responding. So that the other person can conclude and just say, okay, this
you know, in this book, there is a subtopic entitled Conjugal Ladder of Influence. And what we're talking about is exactly what is happening here. A lot of relationships have ended. Why? Because they jumped to wrong conclusion. They text, someone was online, they did this, someone didn't respond, and they ended up concluding this person does not care for me, and this relationship is not worth fighting for, it's not worth pursuing because this person does not appreciate. Now, is that the truth on the ground? No. Because they didn't go further to find out what could have caused this misinformation.
Yeah, like for a sister who has sent that message, what you're going through is not healthy, it's not good. So make up a meeting. You know, somewhere, public place. Talk about these things. Tell him what if you want to interrupt a relationship, so talk about stuff.
Text message it has brought a lot of problems because when you text, you're expecting someone to reply. That's why I encourage people call, find out if you can pick up or what, meet, talk about the issues. Communication is very, very important. It's unhealthy for you to be in a relationship without talking. Imagine being in a relationship with God and you have never talked to Him. Do you think you're going to grow more stronger in your Christian walk? No. How do people backslide? They backslide if they start withdrawing from that conversation, withdrawing from that love that they have, that continuous conversation with God. At the end result, they're going to backslide. Same applies to relationship. Immediately you start avoiding to communicate. What you're trying to create there, you're creating that this marriage or this relationship is bound to fail. So I encourage both parties to communicate. Don't be a person who has got that dependent syndrome where you just wait for someone to communicate. No, I've been communicating. No. Make sure that you find out the facts. You're going to talk about it. Honey, when I text you and it takes this time to reply, it hurts me. You get what I mean, eh? So communication, you know, this book has got
Indeed, it is a book called Discover the Missing Link that will be launched on 4th March. And I mean, you just have to be there and get yourself that book and get to
this
learn
one
more.
will be fire.
Maybe, I know it's 9 hours already, let's quickly get into the launch and just share some information. Information on the launch. And,
okay, so the book launch, this massive, awesome, mouth-watering book launch will be happening on the 4th. This is the next Saturday after this Saturday. The next Saturday at Radisson Blue Hotel. It will be a dinner. It will be starting at 18 hours. There will be a red carpet. We'll have different media houses there. It will be live on Crown TV. Then we've got the permanent secretary for local government who is the guest of honor, was confirmed. Tickets gold is 750 and diamond is 1,000 kwacha. I'm encouraging the people out there to make sure that you grab that ticket. Get that ticket because your life or your relationship will never be the same again. There are many links which are missing, and this is the time to heal our relationship. This is the time to change the game. If you want your relationship to be at another level, this is the time. Get that ticket.
Thank you so much, and that was it. I was talking to Pastor Joshua as well as Mr. Godwin Nyorongo, who is the author of the Missing Link, Discover the Missing Link book that is to be launched. And so, I know we'll be back next Wednesday, so make a date and do not forget to like the page, The Missing Link, and get to have more information just from there. And also continue listening to United Voice Radio as we continue giving you a voice. My name is Margaret Mwanza, and on behalf of everybody in the studio, it is goodbye.